G'day, I'm Blake Ryan. Just going to quick chat to you today about Hunter the Reckoning for 5th edition. It's a game by in the World of Darkness setting by Paradox Interactive. Yeah, and I'll just show you the cover. So yeah, it's quite a nice looking cover. It's quite vivid, it's nice and bright. Okay. So yeah, I flicked through the book. It's well organised. There's some very nice art in it. There's a contents and index which are hyperlinked. You can easily go to wherever you need to find stuff in the book. It's not a problem there. Okay, let's see. Example 164. So 164. Share the screen again. Share that page. I mean, there's only like 3 colours in it, but it's quite a vivid picture. That could be blood, that could be water, that could be ectoplasm. Who knows? But there's something sinister happening, either in a dream or in a vision or right now. But yeah, it's quite it's quite a nice picture. It sets the scene nicely, and the tone of the style of the game. Okay. So, what are you? You're hunters. It doesn't mean you're running around killing ducks and deers and stuff up north. You're professional monster hunters. It's a fairly serious tone through the book. You're not bumbling teenagers with GoPros and torches and stuff. You've got your shit together. The genre, somewhere between supernatural and Jason Bourne. It does have a bit of an international feel because there's some groups in there which can either be allies or antagonists, and they're from like the Philippines, Brazil, USA, Europe. So yeah, it's quite cool. So each hunter has a creed such as underground and a drive such as vengeance. And these two things, your creed and your drive, set what sort of character you are, your background, and the focus of what motivates you. So if you're underground, you're into guile and subterfuge and knowing the right people. For vengeance, it will be, you want to settle a score with the supernatural. It's not just they stole your credit card. It's, they killed your cousin and blew up your car or something. It's they're not messing around. And the book suggests drives and edges for your creed, but it's up to you what you take. Edges are, every character has edges. It's stuff like you have access to a bunch of weapons, or you have access to an occult library. And you can have, you don't just have one each, you've got a couple, and it's up to you how much points you spend where. It's all pretty easy stuff. Now, each mission, you can go against a different threat, or you can have it as part of an ongoing series against vampire conspiracy or werewolf coven or whatever it is. Yeah, should I do the art already? So, there's some interesting groups to interact with, such as BOP Rio de Janeiro. So there's like special ops for Rio, Society of St. Leopold, which are witch hunters, and by witch they mean anything that's supernatural that isn't sponsored or sanctioned by the Catholic Church. So, for many groups that would be antagonists, but some of them may be allies depending on what your group wants to do with them. So your team or cell, you have a track, which is something the storyteller would do, keep track of danger and desperation. Desperation keeps track of adversity, so it goes up for every time your quarry escapes. And danger keeps track of the cell becoming target, so you're on the bad guy's radar. And for example, at danger 4, someone will start surveilling the characters or their contacts. So it is something you've got to play smart to some extent. There's a section for setting up a character map, which is a simple concept of like, here's your 3 characters, and then you have lines going of your touchstones, the people that have meaningful relationships with you, and just your contacts. And you might say, here's a link to Freddy. Freddy gets me ammo, but I don't trust him. He might be giving someone else ammo as well, or whatever. You need to write it down so you can keep track of who's doing what and what is the nature of that relationship. Yeah, so there are notes on safety tools and the mature themes of the game, because it's not about bumbling teenagers, it's your professionals. I mean, some of the edges you can have access to plastic explosives and flamethrowers. They're not mucking around. Figuring out what the primary and secondary antagonists are up to is a big part of the game. They don't just conveniently pop up when you feel like shooting something. It is a bit of a figure out the conspiracy and find out what they're really up to. Okay, so for most rolls, you're rolling attribute plus skill, and that's the number of d10s, and you want 6s or more as a success. And some tasks want like 2 or more successes. So you roll, 3 for strength, 3 for melee, and that's just 6 dice, and you want to get 6 or more on your dice. But if you need 3 successes and you've got 6 dice, then you automatically pass, because if you've got double the amount of dice over the amount of successes you need, you don't roll. You just say, nope, you succeed. So that way it stops unnecessary rolling of huge amount of dice bouncing around the table. Yeah, and there's guides for sort of when to roll, when not to, and how to have an ongoing story and reinforce the tone and the genre. It's quite a nicely presented book that, yeah, it serves its purpose well. Overall, I'm looking forward to playing and running this game. It looks really cool. It's definitely modern supernatural action investigation genre. Yeah, it looks good. Looking forward to more. Okay.